Yeah, so obviously, if you have been joining for February, I've been doing this little thing called Beyond Performative Diversity. Yes, we had LaRock Hudson for the first one, and as promised, I told y'all I will not close out February without a special guest. And here she is.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone.
Yes. Thank you. First of all, for those of you who do not know who the Miss Kendy Alvarez is, okay, current mayor. Let me put some respect on her name first and foremost. Mayor Kendy Alvarez,
Yes,
of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania.
That's
okay.
me.
Okay. So before we get really into it, take a moment. Share. Let your friends know. Let your family know. Let your frenemies know too that we are live.
Let everybody. Tell everybody.
Tell the whole neighborhood. Okay, let them know to pull up. Okay, because
well, you put it out there. You know, let's be honest. More of your haters watch you than your friends.
Yo, ain't that the truth though? Ain't that the truth? Truth? So yeah. we out here. Oh my God! Like you're actually. I think you're my first sit down guest.
And I'm honored.
You really are. And I'm like, the vibes are everything. Like, she even got me like proper tea, by the way. Proper, okay? Kettle and everything. And honey. Okay?
So, you know what happens when you pull up. You
know, like it's family. It's at the end of the day, it's family. And I am so honored that you would share this moment with me. Like, yeah, I feel like we're gonna jump into it. So for those of you, if you haven't shared it, please do. But we're gonna get right into it. And that's why if you notice, I said Kendy is officially mayor. I was intentional about that officially.
Yes,
because you have, to those who know you, yes, we've been calling her the unofficial mayor of Lewisburg for ages. So. Like, oh no, do we got things? Oh, we got activity already. Okay, that's what's up. So, before we really just throw it on into it, if you don't mind, introduce yourself officially to the people.
So my name is Kendy Alvarez, and I am the current mayor of the borough of Lewisburg. And what that means is, in 2022, I ran in the primary. And won both the Democratic and Republican nomination for mayor. So in November of 2022, I was elected as mayor. And then on January 3rd, I was sworn in and took office.
First of all, we'll circle back to that. Like, this is just the itemized. We'll circle back to that.
Okay.
Just so you know. Put a pin in that. Okay.
Just drop some nuggets.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because there's
a
quite
story.
A bit. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. And so then I guess for you, like, given that either way you have been doing the work, you've been serving your community in various capacities for as long as I've known you. Because when I was driving in, I remember I was thinking, hold up, like when did I actually meet you? I don't remember. You've just been around.
No, you were a student. We met when before you graduated. And I don't remember, because I graduated, we both graduated from Bucknell. Yes. And I graduated in 2006. You were 2010?
Yes.
And so for a period between like 2008, 2010, I was back in the area a lot. And so I was around and on campus doing stuff.
Yeah.
But then, so we met then, and then it might have been your 5-year reunion. You came back like 2015.
Yes, I was back.
And I think it was probably something with like BEAA, so the Bucknell Engineering Alumni Association. I'm like an honorary member of the Engineering Alumni Association. I was not an engineer. Like those people are smart. I'm just capable. Like there's a big difference between us.
But I feel like you're in all the alum stuff.
Like, across the board. Like I'm pretty much just like a Bucknell fangirl. It's
I love it.
I do. I mean, it's you're a part of the community. You give back. But I think that's when we met. Like either homecoming or reunion. You came back, and that's when we like officially that's when we clicked.
Yes,
like we knew each other, but like that was the beginning of this.
Yes, and I feel like that's the thing. Like once you become an alum, it's like it all just melts together.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, so you all went to college together? I'm like, we weren't at college together, but we all went to the same school.
Same, you know, the same circle.
So like, yeah.
You know, and I feel like the Black Alum Collective is small enough that like if you know one person, you know all of them. Hold on, correction. If you know Kendy, you know all of them. You know all of us.
I don't know everybody. It is my mission to make sure that, like, you know, I've got these little secret missions in my life, and I do want to reach out to connect more with some of our alums. But yes,
support that absolutely. So then, yeah. So given that you had been serving already, so what made you want to run for this term?
So what's interesting about all of like my journey, I joke that my journey towards becoming mayor started with an ice festival. So we just recently had the Lewisburg Ice Festival, which is a big, you know, it's a big thing for our small town. It's, you know, it's a community engagement event, and there are ice sculptures all throughout downtown. There's the polar bear plunge, which we made the Guardian newspaper because of, you know, we big time. But it started, there was a chili cook-off, and it was like, you know, and you know me, if there's something involving food and people, I'm like, sure, I could do that. Like, yeah, ask me if I've ever like made chili before. Like, sure, like, okay, but like to be like, I'm gonna enter a chili cook-off, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So it started there. We had friends who were, you know, being a local. We've got friends who were running the 5K and doing the polar bear plunge and all sorts of things. And so my friend Vanessa and I are like, well, I guess we need an activity. So we did the chili cook-off. So then it became an entire Saturday of people doing things. And like we supported our friends as they ran and did the polar bear plunge. And then they showed up and supported us doing the chili cook-off. And so that event, it was good. But, you know, I'm like, this could be better. Like, we could do more with this. Like, we could have more people. And so it started developing into this thing that, like, it's my, like, mini passion project. Like, it's one of those things where I know enough to be troublesome.
Yes.
And so I joined an organization that ran the chili cook-off just so I could be involved. I mean,
you see how this works.
It does. They do other things which are good, but I was like, yeah, I was really like, it started with me, you know, with the chili cook-off. That was the catalyst. So we did that. And then, you know, coming full circle, we did the chili cook-off this year, and it was a big success, and lots of people. Vanessa and I, as a team, I believe we've won 4 years so far. Okay. We're the reigning champs. Okay. They've now decided that we get a separate award, and then other people compete.
You know what? Okay, that is good. See, I like that.
That's equity in action. I know, it's equity in action. We have to
we'll acknowledge you. Fairness. Yes, I support that.
Well, I mean, I have a friend who was like, I'm going to win on the merits of my chili. And I was like, this is a popularity contest where we serve chili, and I got lots of friends. So you're not going to win. Like, your chili's good. Oh, but like, and I know how to read a room. Like, I got people cornbread muffins from Country Cupboard to serve with our chili. Damn, so like, people came back for extra cornbread. So like, look, you got to know the rules or make the rules so that you can win.
And that is actually how politics works.
That is how politics works,
right?
Yes.
You got to know how to read the room. You got to know how to read the people, and
you need to know what the rules are, the rules of engagement, so you know how to proceed.
Absolutely, and when needed, know how to go about changing them for the greater good.
Yes,
right. Which is what you're doing.
That's
what I'm here for.
That is what I'm doing.
And it's also very reflective of your character as an individual, as a person. All right. Because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people hesitate to even get involved into politics. Me being one of them. Right. Because I'm like, oh my God, politics is so dirty. But me knowing how you ran your race, even from when it was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run for mayor.
I know, everybody was just like, okay, so Kendy's running for mayor, like whatever. And then I think outside of Lewisburg, a lot of people didn't take it seriously at first. Like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever.
And then like when I was like, oh no, you're serious. And then I was like, okay, let's like when we went for our little like meeting thing, hangout, getaway, we were like, okay, so what is your campaign? How are you doing? Like, well, let's get to the details because that's for me. Like, that's the fun.
You guys wanted to start doing Oppo research, and I was like, no, like. I mean, it's a campaign, but it's not that kind of campaign. Like, I don't know. I'm not fundraising. I'm not spending any money. I created a Facebook page, and I talked to friends.
And one of the things that really hit me was you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go talk to all my constituents. And I was like,
yeah, okay. Had it not been for COVID, I literally would have just walked through neighborhood by neighborhood and gone door to door. Yeah. But like we have an elderly population, and I personally didn't feel like bombarding on people in their homes. Yeah. So I attended get-togethers with friends and attended social events and told people why I wanted to run. Yeah. And that it worked. It worked. Yeah. Like, surprise! And the only thing that I'm like, I was hoping for a effect. I did that. I was like, I want to be able to come wear my outfits and like party and like, yay! And I also wanted you to have a sash, the mayor sash, too. Yes. You recall. So maybe we'll make that happen. Maybe we should make that happen. Yes.
But also, I love I think when during your swearing in, the person was like, oh, Wendy's coronation, sorry, Kendy's coronation. I was like, of course.
Yes. Well, and that's what it is, It was a moment for me, like it was a lot of things building up to a particular moment. And it was, I love that Jeff was like, it's Kendy's coronation. I mean, inauguration.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It fit you so well, personally speaking. Yes. And I was like, oh, yes. Yay. Like, and yeah, sure.
No, go ahead. Keep talking.
And so, even looking, that's what I'm saying, even looking back to how you ran your race, I remember even from the primaries, when we had that conversation in the primaries, after you won the primaries, and you're like, hold up, both the Republican and the Democrat people,
yes,
voted for. I mean, because correct people, you ran as a Democrat.
Yes,
you officially ran as
a Democrat.
Yes,
yes.
However, in the primaries, you won both the Democrat and the Republican.
Yes, and so the way that it works for some offices is that you are able to run on both parties. Mayor is not one of them. You run as an either Democrat or Republican, but the interesting thing is that people of the other party can still write you in. And with that, I had my Republican friends write me in. And so I was both a Democratic and a Republican nomination after the primaries.
Yeah. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this is a thing. And that's keep going back to the nature of your character, right? Where I've known people who have switched candidacy parties. Let's be honest. That's what I'm saying. The game of politics.
The game of I mean, let's be honest. The two-party system works to
go into it.
Uphold power for certain people. It doesn't necessarily allow for someone who doesn't clearly identify as distinctly one or the other. Or even because, let's be honest, as people, we are not entirely left or entirely right.
Oh, absolutely,
there's so many, there's so much of the population tends to be what we would consider centrist.
Yes.
Somewhere in the middle. And having to choose, because let's be honest, the two-party system is fickle and flighty. And in some ways, they swing in one direction or another based on what's happening.
What's popping at the season. Yeah.
So it's hard, especially when you're talking about local governance. Because when people think about the two-party system, they think more about national issues and things that there's so much outside of what happens in your day to day.
Yeah.
You know, like I have friends who are Republican and I understand why they are Republican. I have lots of friends who are Democrats and I understand why they are Democrats. Our two-party system forces people to choose one or the other without, and especially lately, without a lot of flexibility for your choice or why, you know? Some people are really passionate about certain Democratic issues or certain Republican issues. And so they go to a particular party for an issue without really considering that party's overall leaning. Correct. Or, you know, their guiding principles.
Yes.
And so, you know, it's problematic. And I think when it comes to local government, particularly in this position, like you can't be someone who plays party politics and be successful in local government.
Yeah. Ooh.
Because, you know, there are probably places in the world where like it is distinctly one or the other, but we don't have that here. You know, there are rhinos here because, you know, we're in a historically red state, and to do business, you know, for a really long time, it was kind of a requirement that you be more right leaning. And there were membership organizations that you could only be a part of. And, you know, in a small town, when people are like, you know, I don't talk about politics, like politics is everything. Politics is not cleaning off your sidewalk and somebody sending you a code enforcement notice. Like, you want to do something about it?
Okay.
Get involved in politics.
Right.
There's so many things, like, you know, your trash can lid isn't on and you're going to get a code. Like, that's politics.
Right.
Or what kind of parks do we have?
Yes.
What kind of resources are available? Like, of those things are politics. So like
your education system.
Everything that you consider personal is political.
Oh, please let them know that one more time.
Everything is personal and political. So when you talk about, I don't want to talk about politics. So like, you don't want to talk about me? You don't want to talk about people? You don't want to talk about healthcare? Like, you don't want to talk about anything. And even sports.
Oh, come on, sis. Yes.
Like there's politics is involved in everything.
Everything.
And it's just like, it's what you want to pay attention to and what you want to be like, you know what? I don't want to be bothered.
Just
you know, you know.
Yeah, right. I love that you said that. Right, the politics isn't everything. Because if anything, see, I said a bit more, you know, lax. I'm like, listen, if you don't do politics, politics will do you.
Ooh, yes, that is another gem.
You know,
I might have to put that on my social media.
Go ahead, no, for real. Because people are like, I don't do politics. I'm like, fam, if you don't do politics will absolutely do you one way or the other.
Well, and if you care about things in your life, if you are actively engaged in living, not existing, then politics matters to you because it has an impact in everything from, like, you know, everybody wants to complain about gas prices going up and inflation, but like, you don't want to talk about politics. You realize that that's related.
It's absolutely intertwined. 10,000%. Yes, I love this. I'm sorry. Oh my, yes. And so, so going back to the politics of it all, right? This whole, that's why I was like, when you initially introduced yourself, and you're like, oh yeah, I ran the primaries and I won, and then ran the general and I won that. I was like, sis,
yes,
let's go back. Because it is even in the way you ran your race, right? To me, having kind of access to that like backstage look of things, it was the integrity of it all and just the humanity and like being able to see people wherever they are and relating to them in a way that they recognize that it was beyond party lines, right?
Well, and this is my home. So it's not like I grew up here. I am a product of this environment. In some instances, in spite of this environment. And so
go into that in a little bit.
I want to make this a place where people can feel welcome. not just welcome to come and, you know, exchange resources, like exchange their labor in exchange for their time here, you know, but I want them to feel like they can give something and get something in return, that they can make an investment here, whether it's, you know, personal, financial, emotional, like where you are matters. And there's so much about space and place and belonging that we overlook when we talk about politics, because it's like, well, we want to have a great place to live, and we have these great parks, and we've got all of these employment opportunities, but we don't want to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like, we want people to live here, but we don't want to talk about, you know, and like, you have to do the hard work.
That part. Or the J in it again, right? Because we, and I will keep bringing this up, right? We've gotten comfortable with DEI and took out JEDI, right? Which specifically calls out the importance of restorative justice practices in DEI through DEI. DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion, for those who may not be familiar with that. And so, yes. You know,
and the Jedi in it is the justice.
Yes.
It is important that we have a just community.
Exactly. It's for me, especially when you're looking at the historical context of how we got to the places we are. Right.
Well, and there is really no true equity without justice.
Period.
Like, you know, you can't eliminate poverty without justice. You can't, you know, rise people. Like, I can't pull myself up by my bootstraps if I got flip-flops on. I ain't got boots.
That part.
And that's where, like, justice comes in. Like, it's understanding that there is more that needs to be done. It's not, you know, like, there's that popular image of like the 3 kids trying to look at like the baseball field or whatever, and it's like, this is equity, this is inclusion, but it's like none of that takes into account justice.
Yes.
Like, what are the systematic things that lead to, you know, like, maybe I'm not even, like, justice is taking care of the kid that isn't even on the baseball field.
Come on now. Come on. Or, and I don't know, because originally there was the wall or something, and then they eventually took that out.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I guess you're getting closer. Right? I'm like, why is the wall even there in the first place? I'm like, you know, maybe folks ain't really trying to watch a, you know, baseball game. Maybe, right?
Yeah. But yes, it's the justice part of it is very important. And it looks differently in different environments.
Yes.
And I'm in a rural community. I like to think that we are a thriving suburb with no metropolis.
I know.
But you know, we're rural, and I love my small town. I love this collection of small towns in this valley. It is absolutely wonderful. You know, check out my Instagram. You'll know how much I love this place. I'm always giving a shout out to somebody or another. You know, some small business, some nice little thing we found, you know, that sort of thing.
I love that about you.
It's wonderful here. It's like my, you know, this is my community.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you for saying that. People like to throw that word around, community, right? And one of the things that I have learned, shout out to my people in Harrisburg. How you doing? As well, right? We just having the birds.
Yeah, right? that's my tertiary community. Like, I got people down there too.
Everywhere.
I got people down there too.
Right? Like when we talk about community, one of the things I've come to learn is you cannot build communities without actually building community first. Right? To build communities, you must build community for that to effectively work. Yep. Right. And I love the fact that you do see it as such, and you do carry yourself and your interactions with the folks within these spaces, whether it's commerce folks, whether it's just, you know, your residents, now your constituents.
Well, it's like we're all here. Yes. Like, if you don't like it here, do something about it. Change your mindset or change your physical location. Being happy is a choice, you know, and I choose to be happy. I choose to enjoy where I live. I choose this. It's not like it was thrust upon me. Like, I am here. I can decide that I don't want to be here. And there have been several points in my time in my life where I was like, I can't. No.
We've been, yes.
Like, constantly just looking like, where am I going next?
I remember.
And now I appreciate where I am and what it offers. And that I get to travel. I get to go. Like, if I feel like I need to be somewhere else, I can go be there in probably 7 to 12 hours.
that is
like, it's an hour and 15 minutes to the Harrisburg airport. It's 2.5 hours to Newark. It is 3 hours and 15 minutes to JFK.
Okay. Either way,
I could be out. I could buy a flight on my phone on my way to the airport if I was really like, and so I like to think that we're like equidistantly isolated. And so we are this, wonderful rural community in the middle of Pennsylvania, surrounded by mountains along the Susquehanna River Valley, hashtag explore SRV. No, but just a little plug. But, we've got lots of resources that other rural communities do not have. And a lot of those come from the intersections of things like Bucknell, Geisinger, Evan, UPMC, Merck. We'd have this new company called GAF. We've got this whole like trucking and transportation industry that runs throughout our valley. We've got, a lot of economic drivers, people really focused on what it is to establish and maintain businesses in this region. We've got a new company coming in Sunbury that does like hemp processing. And so there was this huge manufacturing push in the past, and there is a kind of a return to that to a certain extent, which is important because, agriculture is a huge part of this economy. And, there have been agricultural shifts throughout time. And so like, I think that it's important that community leaders look at what are the trends, where are we going, what's next, there's going to come a point where, the crops that are currently being grown are not the most lucrative or, maybe that farmland needs to be repurposed for something else. And if there's already a hemp plant doing the manufacturing, like when are our farmers going to start producing hemp, because with sustainability, you think about being able to like reduce the transportation from the farm to the manufacturing of things.
Like, see, that's the other thing. Like that's a whole other conversation when we talk about
that's like 3 or 4 conversations
literally,
from
right?
that.
Yeah, because for me, I'm like, I could literally, I could talk your ear off when it comes to transportation and the issues, but also the opportunities therein, when it comes to community development, right? And so, and
it's community and economic development.
Absolutely.
It is the combination of the two.
Right.
Because you can't have a community without a thriving economy.
Absolutely. Right. That hopefully folks understand that's an integral part of community development. Because what good is it if we're all just kumbayaing and there's no dollars to be made? I was like, you can't be starving and happy.
No.
Like those things don't really go together.
Those are opposed.
I'm just saying, that's not how this works. And so, so I guess I just wanted to touch on the fact that like, I just, all in all this to say, I was so proud when you kind of sent that letter when you showed it. They're like, hey, can we put you in as a Republican like candidate as well? And I was like, I was like jumping around like it was me. Like I was like, yes, and to me again, it goes back to that whole idea. Like at the end of the day, you are your own biggest competition.
Yes,
in this path of like self-actualization and self-awareness and just growth. You truly embody that whole, sentiment of I am my own biggest competition. Because I was like, sis.
I know. I had to run against myself.
I know, right? I was like,
who was going to win?
I don't know.
Was it going to be Democrat me? Was it going to be Republican? I don't know. No. Well, it's funny. Like, I don't think I ever found out. I mean, I'm assuming that I won as a Democrat. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, like either who.
Yeah,
But
I won, so that's all that matters.
Because I remember for the primaries, you're like, well, I don't want to be too proactive and like celebrate beforehand. And I was like,
I know. Well, I mean, there's always that chance that somebody just swoops in and like,
True. Yes. Things do happen. We've seen it happen.
Couldn't just be celebrating in November, like, I won. And then
come January or whatever, like, oops, my bad. I meant. I don't have a, what was it, Miss Universe moment? I know.
I feel so bad when stuff like that happens. Yes. Like, that has got to be the worst.
Right? When you're
especially when it's on such a big platform.
Yes.
And it seems like it's really, like, why does it only ever happen to women? That's another conversation.
Right? See, you be reading my mind.
That's another conversation. That is a whole nother look. We can flush out that conversation after we're done here.
Yeah, that is beyond performative diversity after hours. Join us for that as well.
The after show.
Wow. Yes. Oh, yeah. I feel like we have a lot of pinned conversations to come back to, which hopefully we will.
I know.
Yeah. So
yes. What other questions? What tough questions do you have?
I know. I'm like we because I just feel like whenever I'm with you, it gets just so like we just roll with it, and it just rolls easily for me. And so, given that now you are no longer the unofficial mayor, you're the official mayor now. Yeah. Can we do a little quick circle back as to like how did that even start for you? That people just
I'm not sure. I think it had something to do with people coming back to town, like alumni coming back to town and being like, oh yeah, well, like just asking, and I'd be like, oh yeah, so this is who you talk to, and like this is who I think I pride myself on being a connector. Yeah, I am.
You are.
My philosophy is my resources are your resources. Like I don't hold any of those. Like I don't have this little purse and it's mine and it's just mine. I'm always like, oh, do you know this person? Oh, you guys should meet. You guys should talk. And this is why you should talk. And this person. And then so I think it's a little bit of that. It's kind of like, my mom's quote at my inauguration in the paper. They quoted my mother saying, yeah, she'll do good. She's busy. Like, if you know my mother, you'll appreciate that. That was a compliment.
It was.
But it's very much like, that's my mother. Like, yeah, she's always doing stuff. So she'll be good at it because she's always doing stuff. Yes. It's not like I'm going to sit around and like, so I'm mayor.
I know, right?
And now like some like now overlord, like, I am going to stand here and make, proclamations and not, like I'm involved. I think one of my friends, we calculated it the other night. I probably make like $2 an hour or something for the amount of like, you don't get paid like local politics is not where you get rich. Woo. But and so we calculated, we were drinking and laughing about it, and like we talked about how much time I invest into, the work, and that I probably make about $2 per hour on the things that I do for the community based on my salary. And I was like, well, that is a 200% raise because I was doing it for free before. So like perspective. I get paid now.
You get paid, and you got some respect put on your name too. Like
so 4 years from now, it's like, well, can I also get 200% more?
I mean, listen, if you're doing the work,
if somebody wants to hire me.
Absolutely a labor of love. No, honestly, like that's the one thing I really come to appreciate about community advocacy, community representation. It truly is a labor of love and a labor of passion. And you can't, especially on communal level like this. Damn, you either love it or you don't.
And I mean, and yes, that is definitely it. And for the people that don't love it, like get out. Don't take up space.
Oh, that part. And if you're not for the forward mobility of those who are doing their best to do the work, sometimes the best thing you can do is get out of the way and let them do the work. Because I think sometimes people feel like, oh, because I'm unhappy, I'll block this and this and that. I'm like, nah, fam, you are actually blocking your own blessing. And you're not just blocking that individual, you're blocking the betterment of the community as a whole. Yeah. Especially if their intention is to truly serve the community. So yeah, you're right. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just make space for those who want to do the work.
Yeah, get out the way, because like the only constant is change.
That part. Now,
she paused. This must be a hard question.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's hard, but it's definitely a feels moment for me.
Oh,
it's that question, like moment. Okay. Right. Given that we're both BU alums, I come back here quite often, and one of the things that was part of my core routine every time I came back was I would go to see Mama Irene. I call her Mama Irene. You know. Now she has graduated onto glory, as you like to say.
Yes, she has.
Back home. And you did a special thing for her. You know, like I know, girl. I'm holding back tears too here. Yeah, I know. Yes. And I wanted to acknowledge that because
you're just
I'm sorry.
The worst.
I'm sorry.
The worst.
And on him, forgive me.
The worst.
Because I'm doing my best because I have been such a
you
crier.
Just like make me feel like I'm on the Oprah show.
I'm gonna acknowledge it. You guys have probably heard me snort more than once because I can't help it whenever I'm like super at ease.
My God.
Because I'm at home. It's like yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like
what inspired you? Like what moved? Because for me, when people who do, and you did it well. I want to acknowledge that you did it well. You did it with integrity. That's why I keep saying that. Integrity matters in this thing called life. Integrity matters in this thing called politics. True politics. And
so it's one of those. So like, I think part of the reason why I get emotional about her is that the relationship that I know that she had with her family, and I use her family to include not only her own children, but all of the children that she took under her wing in her time at Bucknell.
Yeah, that part.
She was the kind of person that we should all aspire to be.
Amen.
And like, I will say that over the last couple of years, oh my gosh, right?
Let's try not to. My makeup.
Right? So even though I was back here and like I would see her, like we were not as close as we had been when I was a student. And her daughter and I are still in communication. And I, she's got kids and, I just do too much. So our schedules don't align well. But she was a kind and caring and compassionate person. And I think for, like most immigrants who come to this country, she was more than what people who didn't know her saw her as. And so they arrived in Lewisburg and got jobs at Bucknell and worked in the cafeteria. And you had no idea the lives they had before this work. And far too often we see people just for their utility.
Yeah.
And so, like often our community, like somebody passes on and our communities will rally together and support people. But it is people like her that often get overlooked. But she had such an impact on so many students and so many students' lives that it's like, something needed to be done.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
So that's, I know this.
I know. Yeah. Because
Right.
but it's tears of joy. Please,
yes.
I know we got really emotional.
These are
here.
like these tears are a representation of like the care and the compassion and the love that we had for her as a person.
Absolutely.
It is,
and right. And I think it's also maybe we have a good understanding of this thing called grief and just the seasons of life, and we have this keen ability to see people.
And she,
yeah,
she was full of life.
Yes, and love.
Yes, so much to give, and just so ready to share both.
Yeah. Yes, that part, right? And if you follow me on my socials, right, one of the posts that I recently did, because this thing has been really popping up for me, is this idea of legacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea of what to me was like, what is legacy? And it is the evidence of a life well lived.
Mm-hmm.
And for her legacy to be able, for me, to live on in people like you and myself and her biological children and the many other alums who I know who put me onto her. Because I remember when I first came, to Bucknell, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm from the community college shout out LTC, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm like, I was born in Kenya. I mean, are you Kenyan if you do not have a bracelet? First of all, number one,
are you even really Kenyan?
I know. How would people know you are Kenyan? How do they?
You do not have a bracelet.
Shout out to my Kenyans out there. And
I have no tree representation right now. I am failing.
Oh, where is your flag?
I know. I have no flag. No, I don't even have like.
Girl,
nothing.
Listen, like
nothing.
Whether it's a formal event, like Kenyans will forever have our bracelets.
Just showing up and showing out.
Absolutely. Yes. And I remember she was like, I think it was Mama Sako. She was always like, oh, you have to meet Irene. You have to meet Mama Irene. You have to. And she went to introduce me, and I was like, hi, I'm new. And it's like she just welcomed me, like she knew me, And I remember. Like there were days when it was just hard, and like I looked forward to going to the cafeteria to see her when she was there, or even when I came back, when I'll come back as an alum, for like the meetings and stuff. I made a point to go see her, even if I wasn't eating in the caf. I would ask them like, "Hey, is Irene working today?" And then I would also then see the other coworkers who were there, and I love when they remember you. Like when you actually have a relationship with you and you see people and like they get to know you. Like for me, that was one of like the highlights of coming back, is like feeling the love of the people, faculty, staff, administrators, all the people who really make spaces such as this work. Because it's not just about the people on the screen.
That's community. That is what it is. Like having someone like her who goes above and beyond.
Literally.
She could have just done her job and checked out and not cared.
Yes.
But like there was something in her that compelled her to like just to give more, to be more, to be available, to engage, to actually ask you how you are doing.
And to care. And to genuinely care.
And to care about what your response was. Yep.
That part.
And she wasn't just like, hey, how you doing?
No.
It was, hi, yes, how are you?
Like,
Yes.
And for me, I mean, like I said, family, to me, family are the people who show up for you.
Yep.
When you need them, when you don't need them, but the people who just simply show up, and to me, she was that.
Yes.
And I loved the work of her life.
And it's funny, when I talked to Eve after she passed, she said that, she didn't have to keep working at Bucknell.
No.
But she did.
And I know she like when you talk about like when we have those moments of like, okay, where do I go now? Like, she had those as well, but And we have those moments, and it's one of those things where it's like when you are in tune with your star player, as somebody once said, it's like, and you listen to that, you never know where those seeds are going to, bloom. And yeah, so I just wanted to take a moment while we're here to acknowledge that, not only in your action, but also to acknowledge the life that was Mama Irene. And so, well, as we wind down from that, girl.
I know.
I guess
like we have to, it's necessary to pay homage to someone.
Yeah.
Someone of her caliber.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was really got comfortable there. And so, okay, so I guess as we wind down, coming from all that we've discussed, then I guess my question now, my big wind down question would be, given that you are, since we haven't clearly expressly said this, since given that you are Lewisburg's first official Black women of color immigrant, did I miss something?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the
but it's not the justice.
I check boxes.
Yeah, but it matters.
It does,
right? Like when it comes to representation and even just the vision of what is possible for folks, right? Like for me, that is so huge, and for you to be all those things and be mayor and to walk in that calling, I would say, because you've been doing the work with or without a title. What does that mean to you now? Like in this space
it's still
today?
kind of surreal. So I will sum up what it means with a quick story. I was invited to an elementary school class after I was elected to go talk to the students. And so here I am, just being me. And, a gaggle of 7-year-olds. And, so the teacher's like, and she's the mayor. And so like, what does the mayor do? So I talk a little bit about like, what I do. And then the kids get to ask questions and they're like, so yes. So they say their name. And the first one's like, you smell really good. I was like,
I love that.
Okay. Next one. Yeah. You're glowing. So like, I was literally like glowing. I had a thing of glitter in my makeup bag and it exploded. So when I put makeup on, like there was glitter everywhere. I was like a mermaid or something. Like I was glowing in the sunlight. And like, but the representation, like, so, the kid there, it was adorable and super sweet. Yeah. But there were 3 brown girls in that class. Yeah. And I feel like my presence there in my smelling good and my glowing, has it leaves an impression because they're able to see someone who looks like them doing something where every other thing that they see about somebody in government rarely without like, especially with few exceptions, in every book that they read, it's not going to be someone that looks like them. And so, that is why representation matters, because you start to think that things are possible.
That part. Yes. Right.
And so one of those little girls might be a senator one day, or or our first Black female president. Who knows?
Who knows? Yes.
And I'd like to think that 30 years from now, as I'm sitting in my recliner watching TV, one of those little girls tells a story about how their mayor showed up in their elementary school, and that's how they knew it was possible.
Oh wow.
So that could be my legacy. Who knows? But it's that, that's why this matters. That's why the representation, like all of the boxes that I check, that's why they are important.
Yes.
Because especially in a community that does not look like me, those who do look like me can see that I don't want to be the exception.
Thank you, because I was going to say that.
I don't mind being the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I have issues with ever being the only.
Oh.
And so I want to create a space that allows for possibility for somebody else.
Mm. I love that. I couldn't have said it any better. So okay, fine, yeah. That's it. That's
all, folks. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yes. So once again, this was Beyond Performative Diversity with Winnie O. This was Kendy Alvarez is officially mayor of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, out here. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time. Oh my God, I realized we forgot to change a little tab, but it's all right. Thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your light and your energy and for doing the work. When all is said and done, thank you for doing the work and doing it with integrity and humility and style too while you're at it. Okay. And I look forward. I will absolutely look forward to more of these. I would absolutely love to continue these because, again, it is important in the work of owning our narratives. Mm-hmm. Even as you talk about inspiring that next generation, it is so important to own our narratives, and by doing that, that's how we change the narrative of what's possible for who we are, whether it's as women, as Black people, as immigrants, as whatever that checkbox may be,
I mean, even if you are a cisgendered white male, own your whole narrative.
That part, right?
Don't tell certain stories or,
yo.
That's a whole other conversation.
I keep telling y'all, you know what? Beyond Performative Diversity is going to be like a whole series, an ongoing series at this point, honestly. So be sure to look out for the newsletter on my LinkedIn page. Winnie Okello, PE. Social medias, all things at Miss Winnie O or Winnie O Media. Again, if you've connected with what we've discussed today, I keep telling y'all, Tenny stools, pull up your stools, join the conversation, invite a friend, tell a friend, including your frenemies too, because they be watching. So Kendy, could you let them know how to connect with you if they have any questions or follow up?
Yes, I have an official mayoral Facebook. Yes. But also, I'm on all the socials. I even have, I created a Twitter for so I've got a mayor Twitter. Don't ask me what they are. It's bad. I'll share.
So
I'll put it in the comments. It's for pushing out information. But if you just want to see what I'm up to, just in general, Kendy Ann Alvarez on Instagram and on Facebook and on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
I am there. You can watch me. See what I'm up to and what I do.
I love that.
I'm always out and about in our community. So
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all, folks. That's all we got for y'all.
That's what we got. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your weekend and a lovely afternoon. Ciao, y'all.